you've come to the right place. This is the Around the Ballpark podcast. My name right here is Mike Redman, alongside my co-host Darren Redman. Today, we have someone on with us that you might start to be a little bit more familiar with as we continue to grow. His name is Christopher Bennett. He is with Nashville Tax Solutions. As you've heard on previous podcasts, they are a proud sponsor of our podcast. And so we wanted to have him on today to talk many things. But most importantly, we are here to talk about the Lake County Duckhounds, the independent league baseball team. Oh, wait, that's not today. Okay, my bad. That's not today's podcast.
No.
Are you sure you don't want to talk about that? Okay, so I thought today we would have him on and kind of get to know him a little bit about Nashville Tax Solutions. We'll talk some Yankees baseball. We'll talk some experiences he's had. I don't want to kind of get into it just too yet, but with the Dodgers as well. So some fun stuff planned. So Chris, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey everybody, my name is Christopher Bennett. I'm an enrolled agent and the owner of Nashville Tax Solutions, located in Palm Bay, Florida. I've been in the tax industry for over 20 years. Even though my degree is in sport management, my professional life has always been in tax and tax resolution. Mainly, we help people that owe back taxes, that have tax liens filed against them. We file missing returns, and we get people back on track when they run into tax problems. We solve them. So that's what I do in my professional life. But more importantly, here in the podcast, I like to talk about my experiences around the ballpark. And that started out with being a bat boy for the Los Angeles Dodgers in the 90s. That was a really great experience. I worked for Mark McGuire the year before he broke the record, Cal Ripken Jr., a lot of great Dodgers, Mike Piazza, Eric Karros, those guys. That was really cool experience back then. That was what got me started before I went to college. And again, my degree from St. Leo University is in sport management. So it was always my goal to work in the front office of the New York Yankees, but found soon after college that as someone starting out as an assistant general manager in the front office of a baseball team that isn't very lucrative in the beginning. So I got introduced to tax resolution and found out that it was a way to help people and to make some good money as well. I continued my love of sports, but decided professionally to stick with taxes, and specifically people that have tax liens. So that was definitely how I got my start. Some of the other things that we kind of talked about. I've been to, I believe it's 4 World Series now, 2014 and 15, and in Kansas City. 2016, I was in Wrigley Field, their first World Series after their long drought. Really cool experience. Actually, it's been 5 because I went to the COVID World Series in 2020, and that was in Texas. Also went to the Astros. I believe that was 22, last World Series there as well. And besides all that, I'm a pretty big Yankees fan as well. I went to a spring training experience with the Yankees, which was pretty cool. Got to meet Tino Martinez.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I was on and Pettit was there. Actually, Pettit was throwing some BP, and got to talk with him a little bit after he threw some BP. And also next month, getting ready to go up to Yankee Stadium again. I actually won tickets at the spring training game to the game in New York City. So they're playing the Astros on May 7th. So we're going to go up for that as well. I went to the
that's
Yankee
beautiful.
Stadium. Mike and I talked about a little bit called Yankee Stadium, a lot of history there. That was really great ballpark, but new Yankee Stadium is pretty cool too. Not the same, but pretty cool.
Pretty cool. Yeah, I guess we could start here. So this past Thursday, I took my current house church softball team, and we went to Port St. Lucie, and we went to go see the St. Lucie Mets against the Yankees, which this year they're called the Tarpons. Changed
Yeah.
the name for some reason. They've always been the Tampa Yankees. So we go, and so we're chatting about some of the team members. I'm kind of scouting. I'm like, okay, see how this third baseman's on third base, and when the cutoff man's throwing the ball, he's looking at the guy throwing in the ball, and he's not like got his hand in his pocket, and he's focused, he's paying attention. That's what you got to do, buddy. Trying to bring these kids up a little bit. So as we start to talk and we talk about salaries and like, oh, what do you think a minor league ball player would make? So of course, during between innings, people start Googling, and to my surprise, I knew it was on the low end, but as recent as last year, I believe, or 2021, 2022, the average, like low to high, was about $12,000 a year to about $29,000 a year for a single A ball player. And then double A does not get much higher, triple A as well. It's really, and then the minor league, I think the league minimum for major league ball players around 475K. So big jump there. But
Yeah.
it was just insane to me. So I was explaining, like, these guys aren't doing it, they're doing it because of the love of the game. They're definitely not doing it for the paycheck. That's for sure. So starting there, so Mets, Yankees, good time. It's cool to see like the talent that's going to be coming up in the next couple of years, because with the St. Lucie Mets and the Tampa Tarpoons, they're low level A. So of course that just basically right above rookie level. So there's still a ways to go. But I've seen firsthand people in single A within 2 years, they get that call up and they get their shot. So it's cool to see at that side. So what I like to do, let's go ahead and jump into, so much of what you talked about, I want to kind of dive in a little bit more. So let's start with that intrigued me first and foremost. Let's start about that experience as a bat boy in Vero Beach, because I've been to Vero Beach dozens of times. I miss the team there so much. You could sit front row, and the bleacher that the players were on was like you pretty much reach your hand out and hit the top of their head. I mean, you were that close. Such an awesome experience, the Dodger dogs and all that kind of stuff. So talk about your experience at that park in Dodger Town, and just because what I feel like there's a big void right now in Vero Beach that's missing from Dodger Town being there.
Yeah, I definitely miss Dodger Town. I mean, security was a rope in Vero Beach. Like that was there. Your access to players was unprecedented. Even when I wasn't an employee, I I lived in New Jersey when I grew up, and I would come down here and go to spring training games and stuff like that. And I got really involved, and how I got involved with the Dodgers, one of the assistant general managers came to our school for like a career day for our high school in Florida. And, I got to talking, saying I love baseball and want to work in baseball. I said, I'll get you a job. So my first job there actually was was Mr. Trash, where I wore a tuxedo during the Vero Beach Dodger games, and I would come out in the seventh inning stretch with a broom, and I'd sweep off home plate. And back then, Paul LaDuca, you probably know Paul from the Mets, was the catcher. Great guy, really always so nice to me. Shook my hand, we chatted and stuff like that. And that was kind of how I got my start. And then moved into the bat boy role, and there were some entrenched bat boys that had the Dodger side pretty much sewn up. But so I got to work the visitor side pretty much every game, and which was great. It was like I said, Mark McGuire. I wasn't even allowed to touch Mark's bats though. It was the year before he broke the record, but still he had his own guy that grabbed everything. And it was funny. Renee Latchman.
I get that, actually. I get that.
Yeah. Like you could during BP, during the game, nothing. He had his own guy, and that was it. But Renee Latchman, former manager of the Marlins. He was a batting coach for Cardinals when Mark was there. It was funny. he told me, he said, "Hey, go tell the clubhouse manager I need the keys to the batter's box." So when it was, "Hey, Renee needs the keys to the batter's box," well, his response wasn't age level appropriate, but I didn't get
Little salty, little salty.
Yeah, it was a little salty, but that was a really cool experience. And then Cal Ripken Jr. I'll never forget. With him, it was a little bit different. Like he had a cooler of beer in the back of his pickup truck, and for me that was like, I was a young kid at the time, and it almost like, I don't know, it stunned me to think that these major league athletes would drink beer during the game or after the game and stuff. I was like, don't they like eat salad and chicken and stuff? Like, no, these are real guys that just doing real things, and that was a cool experience. But it also made some of my heroes human too. To see, you see the frustration when they would strike out. Like one time Piazza struck out, and I went to go grab his bat and forgot that when they strike out, they carry their own bat. So
Right.
yeah, he gave me a little bit on that. And one of the funniest things, one time Eric Karros swung the bat and let go of it, and it hit this guy in the stands, right? And he's carrying a drink, and there's red all over the guy, right? And I'm like, oh, and Eric was really upset. He thought he, broke the guy's nose or something. Well, it was a fruit punch the guy was drinking, and it knocked the drink out of his hand and just red all over. That was pretty funny. And then one of the craziest experiences for me, I got to throw out the first pitch of a
Oh,
Vero
wow.
Beach Dodger game. That was really cool. Except it was July, and the night, or whatever it was Christmas in July. So I was Santa Claus. So I was dressed up like Santa Claus, threw the first pitch, and then they put me up, in the top of the stands, and had kids come up to me and tell me what they want. And I was like a 16-year-old kid, but it's July in Vero Beach. It's 110 degrees outside, and I'm in a full Santa outfit. Oh, it was ridiculous.
I mean, just for a second though, I'm thinking
Yeah.
like I'm thinking your job resume after the gig there's up. It's got Mr. Trash, Santa Claus.
I love it. I'm just sitting there. I'm in awe because kids and I'm sorry, people my age who are still trying to find your place. This is what it's about. Don't be afraid. Shy people don't eat in this world. Open mouths are the only ones that get fed. Let me tell you something. That experience going out there, trash man, Santa Claus, the kerfuffles when it comes to trying to take by he has his bat. That's the interesting stuff. That's the stuff. I got to share one quick story with you and try to get your thoughts on it. And then I got two actual tax questions, and we can go back to that for a second.
Sure.
All right, but they tie into, one is a tax question, one is a baseball question. So the first one is, I don't want to say who the announcer was, but he is a current announcer for the Mets. And I'm not going to say who he is, but if you said, "Hey, Ron Darling," he would turn around and say yes. So he told this wonderful story once. I'm half listening to it, so if I get it exactly wrong, I'm sorry, people. So they were talking about bat boys and what they do, and whether it's cleaning the shoes, getting the bats out, and that they would get a nice tip at the end of the year. Some would pool, some individual, right? So that kind of thing. So he said, so I think Gary Cohen might have asked him, it was about 5-6 years ago, or Keith, what did you get your bat boy to do? And he goes, "Oh, I can't admit it to this." He goes, "But they would sign my balls, So there's a whole lot of people out there who got like little Chucky the Bat Boy signing Ron Darling.
That's funny.
And you mentioned the bat thing. He also, and he is so dry funny. I enjoy that. He said, kids would come in, and that was great. This one kid came in and wanted to, can I put on your glove? He goes, no. Right to what you're saying. My bat, my glove. No, these are my instruments of war. Can't.
Yeah.
So then I want to share that. So here are my two questions. First, a real tax question and that the Nashville Tax Solutions can help with. Other than not filing, what is the biggest error / oversight that people do?
The not including all of their income on a return. They may file it too soon, if you will, or they may forget that they took money out of a 401k or an IRA. There's little things. Maybe the 1099 comes in a little bit late after that, January 31st deadline, and it's pretty common that they'll miss something, or they'll think, oh, it was my 401k. I don't have to report that income, but it's true. Really, the way the tax code is written, if you pick up a penny off the ground, you're supposed to report it. If you trade a goat for a pig, you're supposed to record that transaction on your taxes. So that's really the second biggest problem to just not filing at all, is not reporting all of your income. And it's not always malicious. It just may be that it didn't slip your mind, or the paperwork wasn't in the right place when time came to file, and that happens a lot, and you have to go and amend it.
So the second question that I have is about the Otani contract. Digging deep, it is brilliant what he did, so he doesn't have to pay those FCACA California state taxes. Can you talk a little bit about that? And FCACA is not a salty word; it's a made-up word. Thank you, kids.
So I mean, I'm not going to say I 100% know everything about
like
that
everything's
contract,
deferred when he won't be living in California,
which is great. He might not even be living in the United States.
Yes,
I know that the Bonilla contract is a similar. Like Bonilla still gets $1 million a year. Like,
unbelievable. So smart.
Yeah, and however he structured that contract, to push it off till later, and when your
So
interpreter
if it's
can't
deferred
steal it,
money, he doesn't have to claim it, correct?
not until he constructively receives it. So
Wow, so smart.
like, you can't spend money that is in the Dodgers bank account, right? So you're not necessarily on the hook for that part of your income. The other intricacy about baseball and players and their contracts, and I've represented some Major League Baseball players in the past. They have to file tax returns everywhere. So if they're playing in New York, they're playing in California, they're just because their home is in one place, no, they're earning income everywhere that they go. So they have to file returns everywhere. It can get out of hand quickly. Again, if they forget, oh, I forgot that I played in Ohio or Michigan or wherever it is. If you don't file returns everywhere that you earn money, then that can get you in hot water too. So but deferring a contract and not realizing the income, but also not taking the tax hit immediately. It's a great way to structure a contract. That was actually one of my honors, like, thesis in college, was putting together a major league contract.
Beautiful.
That was some of the stuff that I worked on putting together, and talked with Preston Wilson. I remember him.
Sure, New York Met, Mookie's son.
Mookie's son. Yep. And and I talked to him about contracts, and Mike was talking kind of about what the minor league guys make, and I talked to him. I said, hey, you're making millions of dollars. Everyone says, oh, you're overpaid, and he's like, are we? When the owners are making billions of dollars off of our likeness, off of us doing the work, then why shouldn't we be making millions of dollars?
He's absolutely right. He's absolutely right.
And I never looked at it that way, to how much Major League Baseball is making, the licensing, the apparel, making so much money off of it. But these guys deserve to make the money that they're making. You know what? How many Otani Dodger uniforms are they selling out there? You know, same in football. You know, when they brought Brady in, how many? They're still selling Brady
Yeah,
jerseys.
true.
You know, they're making a ton of money off of that stuff. And these guys are really the product. They are, and they should be well compensated.
Yeah, and
Last
I
thing,
think too often we
again,
hear about like, oh, it's not about the money. And I think that rubs people wrong. Like, I'm not saying like I signed the contract because of the money, but like maybe disguise your response a little bit better. But like here's a fun one. Back in because obviously the league minimum went up, but in 2022, Jeff McNeil, Brandon Nimmo, and Pete Alonso combined made less than Bobby Bonilla.
Who hadn't played for 10 years.
who had a great agent / accountant. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't begrudge him at all. I
At
think
all.
he was brilliant.
But now,
Yeah.
but so now you could, oh, Pete Alonso's going to make this, but think about those 4 years where he was making league minimum. Obviously, we'd all love to make what the league minimum is, but like they put the work in, like they're showing up. They're not just showing up on Sundays here. No offense to the football, but like they're pretty much from
Listen,
what?
them and hockey players are just next level.
Yeah, I think as a fan, as long as the athlete doesn't insult our intelligence, then there's no like Latrell Sprewell. I just got to put food on the table. I mean, but
I remember that. Wow.
Yeah, the guys need to get paid, and there is a shelf life on your major league career. You know,
Yep.
one of my favorite players, Don Mattingly. You know, he was a great athlete, but his back just wouldn't let him keep going. You know,
The man needs to be in the Hall of Fame. I'm sorry.
I agree, and he missed all the those playoff runs and all the World Series runs, and, right after he retired. But he didn't retire, as far as I know, because he wanted to.
No.
You know, his body just would not allow him to continue to play on a daily basis.
Ken Griffey Jr.'s mad dash around the bases ended his career because the Yankees won that first game and then Seattle won the next couple. Speaking about the Yankees, a kind of segue. I'm so proud of listen, I'm a big time Met fan, but I love the way the Yankees run their things. Tradition, tradition, tradition. They said, we're not doing those City Connect jerseys. They're the only team other than the A's because they have no city. Seriously, not being funny there, right? And that's why they're not leaving. I mean, they're leaving. So, what are they going to do? Sacramento, whatever. So the Yankees said no to City Connect. I love that because don't mess with success. That is a beautiful jersey. Dodgers, beautiful jersey. Don't mess with that stuff. What are you doing? Whenever I see, like I live up here in Cape Cod now, right? And like I said, Met fan, but I got a partial season ticket playing with the Red Sox. Whenever I see those yellow City Connect, I throw up a little bit in my mouth, kids. It's just enough. Like Red Sox, pristine jerseys. Let's go.
Well, it's funny with the Yankee jerseys too. Like I have a Yankee jersey with my name on the back. The Yankees don't put their names on the jerseys, and from what I've heard, that was from back in the day so that they could sell programs, because you would look in the program, see what numbers the guys were, and find out their names by that. So real, authentic Yankee jerseys don't have names on them. It's just the numbers, and that's still to this day. Yeah,
and I think more and more teams are going that route. I don't know the exact number, but it feels like there are multiple teams now that don't have the name on the jersey, and it makes sense. I would prefer to see it on there, but definitely makes sense. Now, you mentioned the Yankees, and I believe you had been to kind of diving in. You mentioned earlier about World Series games. So myself personally, I haven't been to a playoff like with the thousands of games, hundreds of games I've been to, but I've never been to an actual playoff game outside of the minor league level. So I guess what is that like in terms of getting a ticket for that? Like, is it just let's say, for example, you're not a season ticket holder, but you want to fly to New York and see the Yankees game, whatever, of a World Series. So is it you have to get selected from like a pool, or is it just you pay the ticket, or like how does that process even begin?
you spend a bunch of money.
Right.
Depending, yeah, depending, kind of, you got to follow it. And when it's getting longer into the season, closer to the playoffs, I'll sign up with, like the last four, whoever's in, the American National League champions, because they'll open up their tickets like first. First, obviously, it goes to friends and family and season ticket holders and stuff like that. But I'll get on their mailing list so that they'll say, hey, this on this date the tickets are going to open, and I've gone on, on days where it's 9 a.m. Central Time is when the tickets are going to go on sale, and kind of got lucky, if you will, and I've gotten face value tickets to the World Series, which aren't outrageous. But then there's also been situations like that first game at Wrigley where you were buying secondhand, and they were almost as expensive as Super Bowl tickets. I mean, they were really, really out of hand, and that was just secondary market. So it's kind of gone both ways, with how I've gotten those tickets, just being on mailing lists, and then you kind of get stuck on mailing lists, and now it's. I was looking at tickets in Arizona. I'm still getting the Diamondbacks. Hey, they're having a concert on Saturday. It's like I wanted
Good
World
for
Series
them.
tickets. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
it. I'm done. It's same thing. All-Star game. I've been to All-Star game. I went to the All-Star game in Miami as well, and that's kind of a similar thing where you sign up with Major League Baseball, and you get into like a lottery, and it's okay. You can buy up to 4 tickets, and those are pretty cool too, because you can buy like the whole week of events where they'll have like the home run derby, they'll have different like celebrity softball games and stuff like that. So that the ticketing price, it's kind of a mixture of being right place, right time, and also if you miss that right place, right, it's spending money. But there's still guys, even in 2020, in the COVID, where they only sold like half of that stadium, there were still guys in the parking lot. A little bit different to, they didn't have the physical tickets, but they got laptops set up right there, and like they're transacting right on the grounds there. So you still can get tickets, but you got to be careful because there's scammers out there too.
Oh, you got to be careful of that. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I tell you, I'm listening to you, share your story, and I had a similar. I've been to 2 World Series games, Mets, and then went to see Yankees. Mets. I saw Mets, Red Sox, Yankees, Braves, and I saw most recently playoff game Mets against the Dodgers in L.A. when Jacob deGrom beat them, and what's his name? Ended up having the big run of 6 home runs in a row for the Daniel Murphy rather, went deep the first time. And I bring all that up because I got my tickets on StubHub, playoff tickets, $35. Now, granted, I'm sitting nosebleeds, but up a tank, who cares?
Who cares?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and quick,
There.
I just a quick vent. I don't usually get to vent, but as
Vent
I'm
away.
watching, I'm gonna get back into World Series here, but watching, as you know, on the show, Mets fan, support the Rays as well. Wife's Rays fan. Watching the game, and I'm in the other room, and like the big moment of the game is happening, and the Rays announcer is making it sound like there's nobody in the stadium and it's just ball 2 in a count. But meanwhile, it's the game-winning run. Mm-hmm. And so the reason for my event is, as we're talking about playoff baseball and World Series baseball, I understand, the big names that they want to get out there to cover the big games. There got to be at some point some reward for those commentators that deserve to get there. But then you have those that I understand why. Like the last thing I would want is the Rays' current commentator commentating a World Series game, because it would be really bad. But I don't know. Just what are you guys' thoughts on that? And just because it's like they get you there to 162, and then it's like, okay, peace out, and now we got to watch. You're no offense to those people, but it's like those aren't the guys that we were with for the ride, and now we got to
Oh, I
watch
agree.
somebody else talk to about. Yeah.
Yeah, and the larger commentator, they don't, you're right, they don't have the relationship with the team throughout the season.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
it,
up until the late 70s, that's what Major League Baseball did. They understood the affinity that the fan had for their home announcers. So what they used to do is Kurt Gowdy would be the main person, and then the home team, their announcer would call the game. So like the in '69 World Series, it was Lindsey Nelson, and it was whoever the Oriole announcer was at the time. Yankees, same thing. Ended up being actually Tom Seaver. They had a player, local New York guy. But yeah, I definitely agree with that. But I got one bone before we end everything later. Here's the thing: like, I like authenticity, right? I mean, Christopher, you were the bat boy, right? You on the field. Michael, I love that you got the sandlot behind you, right? And it's supposed to be, the junkyard where they're playing. Who manicured the field? Oh, granted, there's no grass, but look, it's all lined straight. Look at that. Beautiful. Look what the picture is, right? Look, it's even the outfield, everything's straight. Where's the rocks? Where's the glass, the bottles? Who got up early and worked that field? Christopher, who would that be? Tell me. You're the smartest man in the room here.
no idea. The field crew.
That's what I'm saying. Michael, who's the field crew? A little Sparky over there on the mound? Who? Who made those lines? And it's perfectly groomed.
Yeah. That's a good point. Yep.
He doesn't
And,
care. He doesn't care.
but, and I do care, but, I think what I love, like, that movie, since we mentioned that movie, like, to me,
Love that movie.
it's hard to have debates about things and stuff. To me, it's my favorite movie of all time in any
I love the
genre.
movie. I love the movie.
Because, like, I mean, I love the whole thing. The dog, he starts out to be this like monster, and then it's this little puppy by the end of the movie. But and then you were rumors, oh, let's have they had the game in Field of Dreams, and they're gonna go to the Sandlot next. Like, obviously that's not a reality. But you know, getting back with the World Series experience though, for that, do you kind of make it a like in and out kind of thing, or you're kind of like, oh, I want to get there, I want to enjoy the city, see what they have to offer? So I feel like I would make it an experience, like a couple day experience if it's doable financially, of course. But
Yeah, yeah. So it really depends. When I went to Kansas City, the company I was working for at the time had an office in Kansas City, so we would kind of come and like we tailgated because it's pretty neat the way Kansas City is set up because Arrowhead is kind of right there on the same property as where the Royals play. So yeah, we pregame, we played cornhole and stuff like that, and kind of really went in early, and that that feeling and that atmosphere in Kansas City was crazy. Like, it's the city of fountains, and they put like all this blue dye in all of the fountains, and it was really really great. Chicago, same thing. I spent some time there, before and after. We caught a like a Notre Dame football game while we were up there as well. So that was really really a cool experience. Um, Funny, Houston, it was almost like they've been to too many World Series because it was flat. Like it
Wow.
was, yeah, it was just kind of a weird. It was the first time I'd ever really been in Houston, but it wasn't like the streets were on fire. The crowd wasn't even like even two strikes. It just it wasn't great. And the 2020, it was cool, but it was social distancing and half full stadium, and neither team had their home was a home team. It's not the same kind of feeling in there, but definitely the cities in Kansas City and Chicago, great experiences. And it's funny you guys talking about the Sandlot. I have a picture right here on my wall in my dining room. It's The Sandlot. Remember, kid, there's heroes and there's legends. Heroes get remembered, but legends never die. Follow your heart, kid, and you'll never go wrong. And that's just one of the things that I have right on my wall, for
I
the
love
kids
it.
to read and see. Yeah,
I
yeah.
love it.
Yeah.
Even my wife loves that, and she's not a huge baseball fan, but she
It's
loves
a,
The Sandlot.
but what's not to love about the movie? It's a perfect movie.
You're killing. She has a "You're Killing Me" Smalls T-shirt.
The greatest line, one of the greatest movie lines ever.
ever.
Yeah. Yep.
Definitely.
That,
Yeah,
and I think,
yeah.
and then all the interpretations of Roland Gardner. It's Rookie of the Year. That's the other one for me. My
That was a
perfect
good
day,
one,
just be
too.
watching those two all day. So as we start wrapping things up, I have two last things, and then Darren, if you have anything as we kind of wrap up here. One, as a Yankee fan, like for me, obviously as a Mets fan, it's the '86 Game 6. We obviously, but for you, like if you can just on the fly, off the cuff, what's your Yankee like mark out moment where something happened and you're just like, this is as good as it gets as a Yankee fan. Like for you, what would that be?
Well, again, Mattingly was my guy, and he didn't have really the playoff history, but when he broke the record for grand slams in a year, like that was just one of the moments that was just great. I mean, I love the '90s and the Yankees and everything except for them losing to the Red Sox in the World Series. But yeah, well, not in the World Series, but when they lost to
Yeah,
the Red Sox.
blew it up.
But yeah,
Pretty
I
much that
think
was the
that,
World Series. Both of those teams were going to be the Cardinals. That was the
yeah,
World Series.
yeah, that was. All the great teams in the '90s, man. That was great. But there was a part of me that was wishing Donnie Baseball was playing in those games
That's so funny.
when they were winning. So.
Yeah, and so Darren, before I ask my last question, do you have a final question on your end?
Really, that just Christopher, thank you again for being with us. And if somebody wants to get in touch with you, and because a lot of people have not filed, they have extensions. Walk us through that. How you can help
So
people.
the easiest way is a phone call, 615-502-2250. That's the direct office line. You can also go to our website, NashvilleTaxSolutions.com. You can fill out a request for information on that website. And you can also email me, Chris@NashvilleTaxSolutions.com. One of those three will get in contact with you. We'll be able to help you out. You can even come to the office. We're located at 1805 Canova Street, Suite 3 in Palm Bay, Florida. You can always come by and get any help that you need. But yeah, phone, email, website, very, very easy to get a hold of us.
Excellent.
Excellent. Yeah, thank you for sharing. So that actually was my exact question in those words. So I'm going to throw a bonus question out there. One thing we love to do sometimes on the show too, I think on one or two episodes, but I know off the cuff is hard. But Christopher, for your lifetime in what you've seen, so we're not talking about your Babe Ruths and years past, of course, but what is your Mount Rushmore of the Yankees that you've watched in your lifetime? The four that you'd say, pitchers, hitters, whichever. Would you do?
Okay. Don Mattingly is number one for me.
Of course.
Derek Jeter, definitely. Number two, Mariano Rivera, definitely up there. And four, I really love Steve Balboni, but he wasn't that great.
Steve Balboni, yes.
Four, I would probably say Andy Pettit would probably be four.
Steve, I did not expect Steve.
I love Steve Balboni, man.
Oh,
He was great.
He was great.
I'm a big guy. He was a big guy. He could hit the ball.
Yeah.
He was great.
He ended up with the Royals, I think.
Yeah, eventually.
It was good.
And Darren,
Andy
same question.
Stankiewicz was another one. I liked Andy Stankiewicz too.
I love hearing names I haven't heard of in such a long time. Like even when you name dropped Eric Karros earlier, it's like, man, I love that. I love hearing those names that have been out of my mind for so long.
Oh yeah, that Dodgers streak of rookies of the year, like Hideo Nomo, Eric Karros, Piazza, and I think maybe Chan Ho Park. I don't know. There were like four
In a
rookie
row.
of the years in a row.
Yep.
And it was so cool. One year they sent out like the Christmas card, and it had all the rookies of the year, like in a baseball card that was just from the Dodgers. That card that was really cool. And one other thing I wanted to just say quick too, Darren, and like you talked about the things that you got to do to get into the business, and all those experiences. Later on in life, I was also the mascot for the Tampa Bay Mutiny, the Major League Soccer team. That
Oh, that's
was one
awesome.
of the internships I got while I was in college, was working with the Mutiny. I got to go to like the first concert ever at Raymond James Stadium, and yeah, just that kind of stuff led to
See,
a lot of experiences, and
it's true.
it was
Yeah.
really cool.
You have to take advantage of every opportunity. And nowadays, it doesn't matter what your position is with the franchise. I don't care if it's janitorial. You're there,
No,
and everyone sitting in the stands is not, and that's what matters. And like
100%.
talking about taking advantage, I'll share a quick 10-second story as we wrap things up here. I've only gotten one ball at a major league stadium. It was in my seat a couple years ago when on my bachelor party when I was getting married. I went to a Marlins Mets game. But rewind 15 years earlier was in Vero Beach. Get out of my car. The unique thing with Vero Beach is where you park your car, balls would just start flying at you every which way. So I remember I was in the passenger side front, opening the door and seeing a ball laying on the ground. I was like, so I turn around. I'm like, there's a ball there. I'm finally going to get my first ball. That's super cool. I turn around and it was gone. Like someone just took it, ran away. And that was my only, and I'm like, man, I should have taken that, to that person's just another ball or whatever. But like, so you miss that opportunity. So you make what's there in front of you. And so,
Absolutely.
yes, you might have not stayed in that business
story,
forever,
actually.
but you took advantage of those situations, Chris, and that's awesome. And we're here
One
talking
of the
about it, and
coolest
it's never going to
one of
go
the
away.
coolest people that I ever met at Vera, and this quick story too, but one of the coolest people, I met the last guy that was alive to strike out Babe Ruth. He was there.
Wow.
He was there in Vero, and I got to sit and talk to him. And that was one of the coolest things. Yeah, just being there. He's like, yeah, I struck out Babe Ruth. How many guys can say that? That was
Wow.
You can
that was
see his
really
business
cool.
card, whatever company he's for, and then small print. I struck out last guy to strike out.
Yeah,
Well, that is a
definitely.
great way. I can't top that one so this time. So thank you, Christopher, once again. Thank you. Thanks to National Tax Solutions. Thank you, Darren, as always. And until next time, we'll see you around the ballpark.